They killed her in front of everyone. Ambassador Sarah Chen, humanity's first representative to the stars, executed live across 10,000 worlds. The Galactic Council thought this would break us. They thought we would beg. They thought we would bow down and accept our place as the newest servants in their empire. They were wrong. What happened next made the Council realize they had just made the worst mistake in galactic history, because humans don't forgive, and humans never forget. This is the story of how Earth went from hopeful newcomers to the most feared species in the galaxy. In just 72 hours, stay until the end to find out what Earth's final message to the Council was. Trust me, you won't believe it. The Golden Chamber. The chamber was beautiful. That's what Sarah thought as they led her to the center platform. Golden walls stretched up toward a ceiling that showed the stars themselves. Real stars, visible through some technology humans hadn't figured out yet. 200 alien species watched from their seats. Some had multiple eyes. Others floated in tanks of liquid. A few were just clouds of gas in special containers. All of them stared at her. Sarah's hands were bound with energy cuffs that glowed blue. They didn't hurt, but she couldn't move her wrists at all. Her simple blue suit, the one she'd worn when she left Earth 3 months ago, was dirty now. They hadn't let her clean up after the arrest. Council Speaker Zyroth stood at the highest platform. He was a Krell, which meant he looked like a 12-foot-tall insect covered in black armor. His mandibles clicked when he spoke, and his 4 red eyes never blinked. "Human," Zyroth's voice boomed through the chamber. "You stand accused of the greatest crime in galactic law." Sarah kept her head high. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought everyone could hear it. "I didn't do anything wrong." Silence. Another council member, a blob-like creature named Quartan, oozed forward. "You shared classified technology with a primitive species. You violated Protocol 7 of the Galactic Charter." "They were dying," Sarah shouted. Her voice echoed off the golden walls. "The Yithian plague was killing millions. I gave them basic medical knowledge that humans discovered 300 years ago. I saved children." "You interfered," Zyroth said coldly. "The Yithians were scheduled for natural reduction. Their population was too large for their resources. Your interference disrupted the balance of their entire system." Sarah felt sick. "Natural reduction? You mean you were letting them die on purpose?" "We maintain order in this galaxy, human. That requires difficult decisions." Zyroth's mandibles clicked faster, showing his irritation. "Your species is young. You don't understand the bigger picture." "I understand that you're monsters," Sarah said quietly. The chamber erupted in alien sounds. Clicks, roars, whistles, electronic buzzes. Every species was talking at once. Some sounded angry. Others seemed to be laughing. Zyroth raised one clawed hand. Silence fell immediately. "For your crime," he announced, "the sentence is death. Immediate execution to be broadcast to all council worlds. Let this be a lesson to any species who thinks they can ignore our laws." Sarah's legs went weak, but she forced herself to stay standing. She thought of her daughter back on Earth. Little Emma was only 6 years old. She'd promised Emma she'd come home with stories about aliens and adventures. "Can I say something?" Sarah asked. Her voice only shook a little. She was proud of that. Zyroth considered for a long moment. "Speak, human. Your last words will be recorded." Sarah looked up at the cameras she knew were transmitting this across the galaxy. She looked directly into the one she knew was sending the feed back to Earth. "Mom and Dad, if you're watching, I love you. Emma baby, Mommy loves you so much." She took a deep breath. "To everyone on Earth, don't be afraid of the stars. Don't be afraid of the universe. And don't ever let anyone tell you that human compassion is a weakness." She turned back to Zyroth. "You think you're teaching humans a lesson? You're right, but it's not the lesson you think." "Enough," Zyroth said. "Execute her!" A Vrex warrior stepped forward. The Vrex were soldiers, 7 feet of pure muscle with gray skin and no emotions. He carried a plasma blade that hummed with energy. Sarah closed her eyes. She thought of Emma's laugh. She thought of her husband Mark's smile. She thought of Earth, that beautiful blue marble hanging in space, and hoped they would be okay. The plasma blade came down. Back on Earth, General Marcus Stone sat in the war room deep beneath Colorado. 50 other people sat at their stations around him, all watching the main screen. They watched Sarah Chen die. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The transmission kept going. They saw Zyroth address the camera. Let this be understood by all younger species. The Galactic Council is your superior. Obedience is not optional. The humans sent this woman to negotiate for membership in our council. Instead, she committed crimes. This is what happens to criminals. The transmission ended. Still, nobody in the war room spoke. General Stone was 60 years old. He'd served in 3 wars. He'd seen soldiers die. He'd made the hard calls that kept America safe. But he'd never felt rage like this before. "Get me the president," he said quietly. "Get me the Joint Chiefs. Get me every allied nation's military commander." A young lieutenant named Patterson spoke up, his voice shaking. "Sir, what are we going to do?" Stone looked at the blank screen where Sarah's face had been just moments before. "Lieutenant," he said, still in that quiet voice, "we're going to show the galaxy what happens when you mess with humanity. We're going to show them why Earth doesn't have a word for mercy when it comes to enemies." "But sir," Patterson said, "they have thousands of worlds. They have technologies we can't imagine. How can we possibly—" "We're humans, son," Stone interrupted. "We climbed from caves to spaceships in 10,000 years. We split the atom. We cured diseases that killed millions. We survived world wars, plagues, and our own stupidity." He stood up. "And the one thing we've always been absolutely the best at? War." He looked around the room at every face. "Call in every favor. Activate every asset. Pull every scientist out of retirement. As of right now, Earth is on a war footing." "Against the entire Galactic Council, sir?" someone asked. Stone smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile of a predator who'd just spotted prey. "Yeah," he said. "Against all of them." Hours earlier, the Discovery Doctor, Elizabeth Park, hadn't slept in 30 hours. She stood in her lab at MIT, staring at equations that shouldn't be possible. "Run it again," she told her AI assistant. "Dr. Park, I've run the simulation 47 times. The results are consistent." The AI's calm voice filled the room. "The quantum fold drive theory is sound," Elizabeth laughed a little hysterically. She'd been working on faster-than-light travel for 20 years. Every scientist said it was impossible. Einstein said it was impossible. But Einstein hadn't known about quantum entanglement on a macro scale. "If this works," Elizabeth whispered, "we can cross the galaxy in days instead of years." "If this works," the AI corrected, "you'll need extraordinary amounts of energy. More than Earth currently produces." Elizabeth had already thought of that. She pulled up another file, one marked "Top Secret" in red letters. Project Prometheus, the fusion reactor program that had been running in secret for 5 years. They'd achieved sustainable fusion 3 months ago, but hadn't announced it yet. The government was worried about how other countries would react. But if she could link the quantum fold drive to a Prometheus reactor... Her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Dr. Park, this is General Stone from Northcom. I need you to stop whatever you're doing and listen very carefully." Elizabeth's hand froze on her keyboard. Northcom was serious military stuff. "I'm listening," she said. "What you're working on right now, the quantum fold drive. How fast can you build a working prototype?" Elizabeth's mind raced. How did the military know about her research? She'd been so careful. "It's theoretical. I'd need funding, a team, facilities. You have unlimited funding as of now. You have access to every scientist and engineer in the country. You have the best facilities we can provide." Stone's voice was hard. "Now answer my question. How fast?" "Maybe 6 months, a year." "You have 3 days," Elizabeth laughed. "That's impossible." "Dr. Park, they just killed Sarah Chen. They executed Earth's ambassador on live television and told us we're nothing but servants in their empire." Elizabeth's laughter died. She'd seen the news alert pop up on her screen an hour ago but hadn't watched it. She'd been too focused on her work. "Oh my God," she whispered. "We're going to hit them back," Stone said. "We're going to hit them so hard they'll regret ever hearing the word human. But we need your drive to do it. Can you help us?" Elizabeth looked at her equations. "At 20 years of work, at the chance to change everything, I'll need the Prometheus reactor team," she said. "Done." And the quantum computer array from MIT and Stanford both. Done. And about 500 pounds of coffee. For the first time, she heard Stone chuckle. You got it, Doc. Welcome to the war effort. The assembly, they called it Project Retribution. In secret facilities across Earth, people were pulled from their normal lives and put to work. Nobody asked questions. When they heard what happened to Sarah Chen, nobody needed to ask. At Area 51, which it turned out really did exist, aerospace engineers worked on weapons platforms. Not guns or missiles. Something new. Something the aliens had never seen. At CERN in Switzerland, particle physicists collaborated with their colleagues in Japan and America. They were trying to weaponize things that shouldn't be weapons. Some of their ideas were crazy. Some might actually work. In China, quantum computer engineers worked with Russian nuclear scientists. Old enemies became allies when faced with a bigger enemy. When the news about Sarah Chen spread, nations that had been fighting for centuries suddenly remembered they were all human. In Australia, marine biologists worked with military strategists. Someone had the crazy idea that studying how great white sharks hunted might help them design AI systems for space combat. It sounded insane. It worked. The speech president, Janet Morrison, sat in the Oval Office. Every television on Earth was tuned in. Every radio. Every phone. This was the most watched broadcast in human history. She looked tired. She was tired. She'd been in meetings for 18 hours straight. My fellow humans, she began. Today we witnessed an act of barbarism. Ambassador Sarah Chen, a mother, a wife, a woman who dedicated her life to bringing peace between Earth and the stars, was murdered. She paused. Let that sink in. The Galactic Council thinks they've taught us a lesson. They think they've shown us our place. They believe we'll bow down now, accept their rules, and serve them like obedient pets. Morrison leaned forward. They don't know humans very well, do they? Around the world, people watching the broadcast felt something stir in their chests. Pride, anger, unity. For thousands of years, humans have faced bigger enemies. Nature tried to kill us with ice ages and diseases. We survived. Other humans tried to conquer us with empires and armies. We fought back. Our own planet tried to shake us off with earthquakes and floods. We rebuilt. Morrison's voice grew stronger. The Galactic Council has ships that move faster than light. They have weapons we're only beginning to understand. They have thousands of worlds and trillions of soldiers. And you know what? I don't care. She stood up. Because they made one critical mistake. They think technology wins wars. They think their fancy ships and their advanced weapons make them unstoppable. But they forgot something important. Humans don't win fights because we have the best weapons. We win because we never, ever give up. Morrison looked directly into the camera. To the Galactic Council. You wanted our attention. You have it. You wanted to teach us a lesson. Consider us educated. You wanted to show us what happens when we break your rules. Now we're going to show you what happens when you hurt one of ours. She picked up a document from her desk. I'm authorizing the activation of Project Retribution. Every resource Earth has is now dedicated to one goal. Making sure the Galactic Council regrets this day for the rest of their existence. Morrison set the document down. To Sarah Chen's family, your daughter, your wife, your mother. She died a hero. She died showing the galaxy that humans value compassion over obedience, that we'd rather die standing than live kneeling. Her sacrifice won't be forgotten, and it sure as hell won't go unanswered. The broadcast ended. Around Earth, people stood up from their couches. They turned off their TVs, and they got to work. The age of human vengeance had begun. Day 3. Quantum Fold Drive Test Doctor. Elizabeth Park's hands shook as she pressed the final sequence. Around her, 50 people held their breath. The prototype ship wasn't much to look at. They'd built it in 60 hours using parts from the International Space Station, 2 satellites, and a lot of duct tape. Someone had named it Retribution 1. Prometheus reactor at full power. Called out Dr. James Chen. No relation to Sarah, but working twice as hard because of the name they shared. Quantum field stabilizing. Another voice reported. Coordinates locked on Mars orbit, said a third. Elizabeth's finger hovered over the activation button. If this worked, Retribution 1 would jump from Earth orbit to Mars orbit instantly. Not faster than light, just folding space. If it didn't work, they'd just vaporized about $50 billion and killed any chance of fighting back. 3. Elizabeth counted down. 2, 1, activate. She pressed the button. Retribution 1 flickered. For a moment it seemed to exist in two places at once. Then it vanished. Everyone stared at the empty space where it had been. Mars Station, do you copy? Elizabeth said into her headset. Do you have visual on Retribution 1? Static, more static, then holy. Yeah, we got it. It just appeared right in front of us. No warning, no energy signature. It just popped into existence. The command center erupted in cheers. People hugged. Some cried. Elizabeth just slumped into her chair, exhausted and elated. General Stone's voice came through the speakers. Dr. Park, you just changed warfare forever. How fast can you build 100 more? Elizabeth laughed. 100? General, I can build 1,000 if you give me the resources. You got it. Start building. We jump in 48 hours. The fleet assembles. They called them ghost ships. Using the quantum fold drive, they weren't fast. They were instant. Weapons couldn't track them. Shields couldn't stop them. You couldn't see them coming because they didn't come at all. They just appeared. Each ghost ship was small, about the size of a bus, but each one carried something special. At Los Alamos, they'd figured out how to make nuclear weapons really, really small. Not weak, small. A bomb the size of a basketball that could vaporize a city. At MIT, they'd invented something called a cascade virus. It was a computer program that could infect any electronic system, learn how it worked, then shut it down. And it spread like a real virus, jumping from ship to ship. At Oxford, a crazy professor named Dr. Singh had invented quantum mines. They existed in a state of uncertainty until something got close. Then they decided to be real and exploded. You couldn't detect them because they technically didn't exist until they did. Humans had spent 3 days inventing nightmares. The Council gathers back in the Golden Chamber. The Galactic Council met to discuss Earth. The human world has gone silent, reported Zyroth. No transmissions. No responses to our messages. Good, Cortan oozed. They're learning fear. Maybe, said a third voice. Commander Trill was a Vescan, a species that looked like wolves walking upright. They were the Council's military leaders. Or maybe they're planning something. Planning? Zyroth's mandibles clicked in amusement. They're a Type 0 civilization. They haven't even colonized their own solar system yet. What could they possibly plan? The human female, Chen, Trill continued. Before she died, she said we weren't teaching the lesson we thought. What did she mean? The desperate words of a dead criminal, Quartan dismissed. Nothing more. I recommend we send scouts to the Sol system, Trill insisted. Verify that the humans are accepting their place. Fine, Zyroth agreed. Send a battle group. 10 ships should be enough to scare them if they're thinking of being stupid. Trill wanted to send more. Something about the humans bothered him. They'd gone too quiet too fast. But he was outvoted. 10 ships folded space toward Earth's solar system. They never came back. The ambush captain, Mike Torres, commanded Retribution 7. He floated in the pilot seat, watching sensors that showed him where the Council ships would appear. Quantum signature detected, his AI announced. 10 ships entering Jupiter orbit in 3, 2, 1. 10 massive warships appeared. Each one was a mile long, covered in weapons and shields that could probably destroy Earth's entire military in an hour. All units, Torres said calmly into his radio. Execute Plan Omega. 50 ghost ships flickered into existence around the Council vessels. Too close for weapons to track. Too sudden for shields to activate. The quantum mines appeared next. Hundreds of them materializing right against the Council ships' hulls. Then everything exploded. It wasn't a fair fight. It wasn't supposed to be. When the explosions cleared, 10 Council ships floated dead in space. The cascade virus had shut down their systems 1 millisecond before the quantum mines detonated. The crews were probably still alive, trapped inside their disabled ships. Torres didn't care. Retribution 7 to all units. He transmitted. Primary targets eliminated. Jump to Phase 2 coordinates. 50 ghost ships vanished, leaving the wrecked council vessels behind. Someone in Taurus's crew laughed. Did we just win? No, Taurus said quietly. We just let them know we're coming. The real fight starts now. Xyroth learns the truth. What? Xyroth's roar made everyone in the Golden Chamber flinch. Even Cortan, who didn't have ears, seemed to shrink away. All 10 ships destroyed, Trill reported. His voice was steady, but his ears were flat against his head in fear. No distress calls. No survivors. We only know because their tracking beacons went offline simultaneously. How? Xyroth demanded. Those were Krell battleships. They could fight off 100 primitive vessels. We don't know how, Trill admitted. The humans have shown capabilities we didn't know they possessed. Then send more ships. Send 100. 1,000. Great speaker, Trill said carefully. I recommend we reconsider our approach. The humans are more dangerous than we thought. They're primitives. Xyroth smashed his claw against his throne. They got lucky. Or they had help. Find out who's helping them and execute them too. But even as Xyroth raged, he felt something he hadn't felt in centuries. Fear. Somewhere out in the dark. The humans were coming, and nobody knew how to stop them. Week 1. The Ghost War. The Galactic Council called it the Ghost War because they never saw their enemy coming. Council Station 15 was a mining facility orbiting a gas giant in the Proxima system. 5,000 workers, mostly Yethians who'd been enslaved after their planet was naturally reduced. At 0400 station time, ghost ships appeared in the workers' quarters. Humans in combat armor stepped out, but they weren't attacking. We're from Earth, their leader announced through translation software. We're here to free you. Grab only what you can carry. We leave in 5 minutes. The Yethians stared in shock. Some had seen the broadcast of Sarah Chen's execution. They knew humans. It's a trick, one Yethian whispered. No trick, the human replied. He lifted his helmet, showing his face. Sarah Chen died trying to help your people. We're here to finish what she started. 4 minutes later, 5,000 freed slaves flickered away on ghost ships. Council Station 15 exploded 60 seconds after that. This same scene played out across Council space. Mining stations, prison planets, slave facilities. Anywhere the Council kept people they considered lesser, humans appeared like ghosts, freed the prisoners, and destroyed everything they left behind. The Council responds. They're not fighting us, Admiral Kresh told the Council. He was a Draken, a species bred for war, with scales like armor and multiple arms for wielding weapons. They're humiliating us. Explain, Xyroth demanded. Kresh pulled up a hologram showing Council space. Red dots marked every place humans had struck. They're hitting our supply lines, our support systems. They're freeing slaves and making us look weak. 47 stations destroyed. 12 prison facilities emptied. Over 2 million slaves freed. Why aren't you stopping them? Cortan burbled angrily. Because we can't see them coming. Kresh's roar echoed through the chamber. Their ships appear from nowhere. No energy signatures. No warning. They attack, accomplish their goal, and vanish before we can respond. Then station ships at every facility, Xyroth ordered. We have over 10,000 facilities, Kresh pointed out. We don't have enough ships to guard them all. And even when we do post guards, the humans fold space right past them. They appear inside the stations. A long silence fell over the Council. What do you recommend? Xyroth finally asked. We attack Earth, Kresh said simply. Cut off the head and the body dies. Send the entire Council fleet to Sol system. Turn their planet into ash. How many ships? Another Council member asked. All of them, Kresh replied. Every ship we have. 5,000 warships fully armed. Even with their strange technology, they can't fight that many. Xyroth clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Part of him wanted to say no. It seemed excessive to destroy an entire planet over one woman's execution, but the humans had made him look weak. The Council was questioning his leadership. Species that had been obedient for centuries were starting to whisper about rebellion. Do it, Xyroth ordered. Gather the fleet. Turn Earth into a graveyard. Earth prepares. They're coming. General Stone announced to the war room. Every sensor we've got shows 5,000 Council ships folding space toward Earth, ETA 6 hours. Nobody panicked. They'd expected this. Dr. Park, is the Prometheus network ready? Stone asked. Elizabeth nodded from her screen. She wasn't in Colorado anymore. She was on the moon, at Tycho Base, where they'd built something special. Ready, General. All 40 fusion reactors are linked and online. We have enough power to fold the entire moon. Dr. Singh, are your surprises in place? The Oxford professor grinned from his screen. He looked like he hadn't slept in days, which was probably true. Oh yes, General. They're in for quite a shock. Literally. Captain Torres, is the Ghost Fleet ready for Phase 3? All 1,000 ships ready to jump on your command, sir. Stone looked around at all the screens, all the faces of people who'd worked miracles in just 1 week. Ladies and gentlemen, he said quietly, the Council thinks they're coming here to destroy us. They think they're coming to teach humanity a final lesson. He smiled. Let's show them what humans do to bullies. The trap. The Council fleet arrived in Sol system in perfect formation. 5,000 warships, each one a marvel of technology, each one capable of destroying cities. Scan for human vessels. Admiral Kresh ordered. Nothing, sir. His sensor operator reported. The system appears empty. They fled, someone laughed. The cowards ran away. But Kresh wasn't so sure. His warrior instinct screamed danger. Move slowly, he ordered. Full shields. Weapons hot. Watch for it. That's when the moon teleported. One moment it was orbiting Earth normally. The next moment it was right in the middle of the Council fleet, and it was covered in weapons. Fire. General Stone commanded from Tycho Base. The entire surface of the moon lit up. Railguns, plasma cannons, missile batteries. The humans had turned Earth's moon into the biggest weapon in the solar system. The first wave of Council ships died before they could react. All ships scatter, Kresh roared. Avoid the quantum mines activated. Dr. Singh's surprises had been floating invisible in space, waiting. Now they decided to exist, right next to Council ships. More explosions. More death! Jump away! Kresh ordered. Full retreat! But when his ships tried to fold space, nothing happened. Gravity wells deployed, Torres reported from Retribution 1. They can't jump out. The humans had learned Council technology and made it better. They'd seeded the entire Sol system with generators that prevented space folding. The Council fleet was trapped. Ghost Fleet, Stone commanded. Execute Order Omega. 1,000 ghost ships appeared inside the Council formation. Unlike Council ships, their quantum drives worked fine inside the gravity wells. They'd designed it that way. What followed wasn't a battle. It was a massacre. Council ships tried to fight back. Their weapons were powerful. Their shields were strong. Under normal circumstances, they would have won easily, but humans don't fight normal circumstances. Humans cheat. Ghost ships appeared, fired, and vanished before return fire could hit them. Quantum mines kept exploding. The moon's weapons never stopped firing. Admiral Kresh watched his fleet die. 3,000 ships gone in the first 10 minutes. 4,000 after 20. Surrender. He transmitted in every language. We surrender. General Stone's face appeared on every Council ship screen that was still functional. Did Sarah Chen get to surrender? He asked quietly. Then he closed the channel. 30 minutes after the battle started, the Council fleet was completely destroyed. 5,000 ships reduced to debris floating around Earth. Humans had won their first space battle against a galactic superpower, but they weren't done yet. The Golden Chamber. 1 week later, Zyroth sat alone in his throne. The other Council members had fled. Some went to their homeworlds. Others went into hiding. The Great Galactic Council, rulers of 10,000 worlds for 10,000 years, had been broken by one primitive species in just 2 weeks. Incoming transmission, his computer announced. I'm not accepting, Zyroth started to say. The transmission activated anyway. The humans had hacked into his personal chambers. General Stone appeared on the screen. He looked tired but satisfied. Speaker Zyroth, Stone said. I wanted to talk to you personally. You've won, Zyroth said bitterly. The Council is broken. Our fleet is destroyed. What more do you want? To kill me too? Actually, no, Stone replied. See, that's the difference between humans and the Council. We don't kill people just to make a point. Then what do you want? Stone leaned forward. I want you to understand something. You killed Sarah Chen because she showed compassion, because she saved lives, because she wouldn't let children die when she could help them. She violated our laws, Zyroth said weakly. Your laws are wrong, Stone said flatly, and we're going to change them. Zyroth laughed, a harsh clicking sound. You're primitives. You can't. We just destroyed your entire fleet, Stone interrupted. We've freed 2 million slaves. We've shut down your criminal empire. I think we can change whatever we want. A long silence fell. What are your demands? Zyroth finally asked. Stone pulled out a document. The council is hereby dissolved. The position of speaker no longer exists. All slave facilities are to be shut down immediately. All conquered species are granted independence. All natural reduction programs are cancelled permanently. Impossible, Zyroth whispered. The galaxy will fall into chaos without council guidance. Maybe, Stone agreed. Or maybe species will figure out how to govern themselves. Either way, the council's reign is over. And if I refuse? Stone's expression hardened. Then we fold Earth's moon into orbit around your planet. See how you like having weapons aimed at you 24 hours a day? Zyroth slumped in his throne. He'd lost everything. His power, his empire, his pride. Why spare me? He asked. After what I did to your ambassador. Because Sarah would want us to, Stone said quietly. She believed in mercy, in second chances, in the idea that people could be better than their worst actions. He paused. I'm not as forgiving as Sarah was, but I'm trying to honor her memory. So here's your second chance, Zyroth. Help us build something better. Help us create a real council where species work together as equals instead of masters and servants. And if I refuse? Zyroth asked again. Then you get to live with the knowledge that one human woman was braver, kinder, and stronger than you'll ever be, Stone replied. That's punishment enough. The transmission ended. Zyroth sat in the darkness of the Golden Chamber and realized the humans were right. That was punishment enough. The Yithian homeworld. Sarah Chen had tried to save the Yithians. She'd died for it. So when humans finished with the council, they went back to finish what Sarah started. The Yithian plague was still killing people, but now humans arrived with medicine, with doctors, with supplies. They cured the sick. They fed the hungry. They rebuilt what the council had destroyed. A young Yithian girl, no more than 6 in human years, approached Dr. Elizabeth Park as she was setting up a medical tent. Are you the humans? The girl asked in broken English. Yes, sweetie, Elizabeth replied. We're here to help. Did you know Sarah Chen? The girl asked. Elizabeth stopped what she was doing. No, I never met her, but I know what she did for your people. The girl held out a small flower, native to the Yithian world. My mother told me to give this to any human I met. She said Sarah Chen saved my mother's life when everyone else said she should die. She said we should never forget. Elizabeth took the flower with shaking hands. We won't forget either, she promised. Sarah's the reason we're here. The girl smiled and ran off to play with other children. Elizabeth looked at the flower and cried. After all the violence, all the death, all the destruction, it was this small moment of kindness that broke her. Sarah Chen had changed the galaxy after all, just not the way she'd expected. Earth. 1 month later, the United Nations building was packed. Every country on Earth had sent representatives, but this time they weren't alone. Yithian diplomats sat next to freed Krell slaves. Vescan warriors stood beside Draken scientists. 100 different species all gathered together. President Morrison stood at the podium. Today we establish something new, not a council where some species rule over others. A federation where all species are equal. She unveiled a flag. It was blue, like Earth's oceans, with a circle of stars representing every species present. But in the center was a single white star. That, Morrison said, pointing at the white star, represents Sarah Chen. She's the reason we're all here. She's the reason we fought. She's the reason we're trying to build something better. The representatives voted. Unanimously, they approved the creation of the Galactic Federation. Zyroth was there too. He wasn't a prisoner. He wasn't a leader. He was just another representative, his species equal to all the others. He approached Morrison after the vote. I don't understand humans, he admitted. We killed your ambassador. We tried to conquer your world, yet you show us mercy." Morrison smiled sadly. "Sarah taught us that compassion isn't weakness. Mercy isn't surrender. Being kind doesn't mean being stupid." She looked at him directly. "But hurt us again, and you'll learn that humans can be compassionate and absolutely terrifying at the same time." Xyroth nodded slowly. He understood now. Humans weren't just warriors. They were something more dangerous. Warriors with principles. Sarah's memorial on Earth in Washington, D.C., they built a memorial for Sarah Chen. It wasn't grand. It wasn't fancy. It was a simple statue of a woman holding out her hand, offering help to someone unseen. At the base, they carved her last words. "Don't be afraid of the stars. Don't be afraid of the universe. And don't ever let anyone tell you that human compassion is a weakness." Every year, on the anniversary of her death, people from across the galaxy come to visit. They leave flowers. They tell stories. They remember the woman who changed everything. Emma Chen, now 7 years old, visited the memorial with her father, Mark. She placed a flower at the base of her mother's statue. "Daddy," she asked, "did Mommy really save the whole galaxy?" Mark knelt down beside his daughter. "Your mom showed everyone that being kind is more important than being powerful. And yes, sweetheart, she saved everyone." "I want to be like her," Emma said firmly. Mark hugged her tight. "You already are, baby. You already are." The final message in the Golden Chamber, now renamed the Federation Hall, a new hologram replaced Xyroth's throne. It was Sarah Chen, recorded during her trial, speaking her final words. But humans had added something new. They'd programmed the hologram to appear whenever anyone entered the hall. Every ambassador, every diplomat, every leader who came to Federation Hall saw Sarah first. They saw her courage, her defiance, her compassion, and they remembered what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. 10 years later, Captain Emma Chen, aged 17, stood on the bridge of the Ambassador Sarah Chen, humanity's newest exploration vessel. "Captain," her second officer reported, "we're receiving a distress call from an unknown species. They're under attack by raiders." Emma didn't hesitate. Set course, maximum speed, ready weapons. As the ship jumped to help people they'd never met, Emma looked at the photo she kept on her command chair. Her mother smiling, holding baby Emma. "Watch this, Mom," she whispered. "I'm going to make you proud." The Ambassador Sarah Chen flickered through space, racing to save lives, just like her namesake would have wanted. And that's how humanity went from newcomers to protectors of the galaxy in just 1 month. The Galactic Council learned the hard way that humans don't forgive those who hurt the innocent, that we fight hardest when we're fighting for others, that our compassion makes us stronger, not weaker. Sarah Chen died trying to save lives, but her death sparked a revolution that freed millions and changed the galaxy forever. The Council thought they were executing a criminal. Instead, they created a martyr. They thought they were teaching humans a lesson. Instead, they learned one themselves. Never underestimate a species that values kindness above obedience. Never attack people who fight for others instead of themselves. And never ever threaten humanity's protectors, because humans remember, humans adapt. And humans always protect their own. Sarah Chen's legacy lives on in every freed slave, every independent world, and every act of compassion across the stars. What do you think Earth should do next? Should they explore deeper into unknown space? Should they hunt down the remaining Council loyalists? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story of human courage and revenge, smash that like button and subscribe for more HFY content. We've got dozens of stories about humanity showing the galaxy what we're made of. See you in the next story, where we'll discover what happens when aliens realize human pack bonding instincts apply to entire planets.